Why was Tenochtitlan destroyed? Imagine a city built in the middle of a vast lake, magnificent temples, bustling markets, clean streets, and more than 200,000 inhabitants. When the Spanish first saw it, many believed it was a mirage. But just 2 years later, almost nothing remained. How did one of the greatest cities of its time disappear from the face of the earth? The story begins in the year 1325. According to Aztec legend, their god instructed them to found a city where they would find an eagle perched on a cactus with a snake in its beak. After years of searching, they finally found exactly that place, a small island in the middle of Lake Texcoco. There, Tenochtitlan was born. At first, it was only a tiny settlement, but year after year the city continued to grow. The Aztecs built causeways and bridges. They dug canals. They created floating gardens called chinampas, where crops could be grown all year round. Less than 200 years passed, and Tenochtitlan became one of the largest cities in the world. Historians estimate that more than 200,000 people lived there. Every day, enormous marketplaces attracted thousands of merchants. Gold, cocoa, cotton, exotic birds, precious stones. You could buy almost anything there. Fresh water flowed into the city through stone aqueducts. The Spanish later admitted that many European cities looked far worse. Here's an interesting fact. One Spanish soldier wrote that what he saw was so unbelievable, it felt as though he were dreaming. But what amazed the Spanish even more than the temples and the markets was the way the Aztecs grew their food. Tenochtitlan stood in the middle of a lake. There was very little dry land. So the Aztecs created chinampas, artificial floating islands. They reinforced them with wooden stakes and reeds, then covered them with rich, fertile soil. On these islands, they grew corn, beans, tomatoes, and many other crops. They harvested several times each year. Thanks to these floating gardens, the city could feed hundreds of thousands of people. But Tenochtitlan was more than just a beautiful city. It was the capital of a vast empire. Dozens of neighboring peoples were forced to pay tribute to the Aztecs. Food, gold, weapons, jewelry. But not everyone accepted Aztec rule. Many dreamed of breaking free from their control. That would later become one of the key reasons for the empire's downfall. Then, in 1519, everything changed. The Spanish conquistador Hernán Cortés arrived on the coast of Mexico. He had only a few hundred soldiers, far too few to conquer an entire empire. But Cortés found a far more powerful weapon. Allies. Thousands of warriors from neighboring peoples agreed to fight against the Aztecs. Together, they marched toward Tenochtitlan. But this raises an important question. If the Aztecs were so powerful, why did they allow the Spanish to enter their capital? Historians still debate the answer. Emperor Moctezuma understood that these strangers possessed unfamiliar weapons and strange animals called horses. Perhaps he hoped to resolve the situation peacefully, or perhaps he simply didn't believe that a few hundred foreign soldiers posed a serious threat. Whatever the reason, the Spanish gained exactly what they wanted most: access to the very heart of the empire. But soon an even more dangerous enemy appeared: smallpox. The disease arrived with the Europeans. The Aztecs had never encountered it before. They had no immunity. Within only a few months, thousands died. Even the emperor could not survive the disease. The empire began collapsing from within. Here's another interesting fact. Many historians believe that smallpox claimed far more lives than Spanish swords ever did. In 1521, the final siege began. The Spanish destroyed the bridges. They cut off the city's food supply. they also cut off its fresh water. Month after month, the defenders grew weaker. Eventually, Tenochtitlan fell. Most of the city was destroyed. Its temples were dismantled. Their stones were used to build a new city. That new city became modern-day Mexico City. Today, more than 20 million people live where Tenochtitlan once stood. Most of them have no idea that beneath their feet lie the remains of one of the greatest cities of the ancient world. Its palaces, its temples, its canals. Many of them are still buried underground. One final fact. The symbol on the modern flag of Mexico, an eagle perched on a cactus with a snake in its beak, comes directly from the legendary founding of Tenochtitlan. The city disappeared, but its story survived. Even after 500 years, Tenochtitlan continues to emerge from the past. During the construction of buildings, subway lines, and roads, archaeologists regularly uncover parts of the ancient city. Stone walls, sculptures, jewelry, everyday objects. In 1978, construction workers accidentally discovered the massive stone disk of the Aztec goddess Coyolxauhqui. That discovery led to one of the largest archaeological excavations in the history of Mexico City. And who knows how many more secrets of Tenochtitlan are still hidden beneath the modern city?